So at the Aspire conference I went to recently, where I had saw Mark Cuban speak, or actually he was being interviewed, and one little nugget he threw out there was that selling is never convincing, selling is helping, and I think there is a mindset there that is fairly powerful, actually. Now, I have traditionally said that I'm not very good at sales. That's kind of a that's probably one of those things I need to not speak out into the world, right? Because it's not a good belief to reinforce, and it's not something to we want to reinforce in any kind of spiritual sense either. Um, but when I there were some environments in which I struggled to sell effectively. So environments in which I needed to make a sale. Someone walks onto the lot. I'm trying to sell a shed. I have to sell them right there and then and there. I did struggle to do that very effectively, I think. Now, I mean, I certainly sold some, but to be like a standout, amazing rock star kind of a guy in that role, I did not achieve that. Now, granted, that was earlier in my professional career as well, and I could probably do a better job now than I did at that point. Um, and then there was also when I was doing commercial roofing, I was doing cold calling and trying to sell that way as well. Had very minimal success with the cold calling, I would say. I did sell some projects, but I would say probably, I don't know what the percentage was, but probably half or more were from, you know, um, internet marketing type efforts being found online versus being, approaching people to get a sale, right? So, but both of those I'd say are fairly tough selling environments, right? Kind of like a little bit like car sales. You're trying to like capture someone right there, boom, get them. Or the other one is more B2B, trying to make a large-ish, relatively large transaction without any prior relationship. So both fairly tough scenarios, I would say. Now, when it comes to selling my services, um, I've actually had fairly different results depending on where the lead originates from. So when it comes to selling my marketing services, typically people who've been referred to me, um, it's usually not hard, I would say. Now, not everyone that's referred to me ends up, going my direction or deciding to purchase from me, but I'd say the percentage is actually fairly high, and it makes sense when there's a referral. There's a pretty high degree of trust, and that's probably the number one thing you need when you're looking for someone to kind of essentially partner with you in your business, like a marketing firm. Um, but when it comes to selling in my current role, um, I have a very because I get to choose exactly what the product is that I offer to my customers, my marketing services. Um, and because I believe in my marketing services, it's pretty easy for me to sell, I would say. Now, I have had customers that have found me online who've contacted me, and I've not sold very many of those, which is interesting. Now, the conversations we have, it seems like things are headed in the right direction. They seem very positive. It's like, yeah, yeah, let me talk to my wife. Now, maybe, I've just not addressed all their concerns or whatever. Um, but I also do think that sometimes the paperwork that I've sent as a follow up to get them to sign the dotted line has probably been a little bit overwhelming. I think I probably need to update my sales process to be more effective. But that's also probably just a numbers issue. I've not had lots and lots of those because I've not aggressively marketed my business. But which I know that's ironic. But anyway, so going back to this whole idea of not convincing but helping, it's part of what I love though about the sales process for my current business is my business really is all about helping, and I think pretty much all businesses theoretically are, right? It's kind of just depends on whether the person selling it has that vision, right? So like when it comes to selling you a shed, like yeah, I I wanted to sell a shed to them. I wanted to help them with that, I think, but I think I was so concerned about my own commission that it was hard for me to stay in kind of that just pure I want to help you mode and more in like I need this for me mode, right? And that bleeds through in the interactions, I think. And then secondly, and then of course I didn't really have control exactly over how the sheds were made. Now I was selling a good quality shed, and had options to sell like very good quality sheds on their elite line, but um, still it's not quite like this is the product that I personally designed and believe in completely from that standpoint, maybe. Um, and then when it came to selling, commercial roofing, um, there again, I like the ability to help businesses, I guess. There again, I was probably more worried about what I was getting out of it and landing the sale and trying to be successful and all that stuff. And it probably interfered some in my sales process. But there again, I don't know that that was necessarily the issue there. Might have been more just the way the numbers worked out, market forces, and things like that. Um, but yeah, when it comes to selling my services now, it's like, I mean, the sales process is extremely geared around how could I help them, right? Like it's not it's not sort of some kind of abstract do I want the product or not so much as like do they need help and do I have a service that could help them and is the pricing such that it makes sense for their business, right? And the other thing that I like is, traditionally I've had flexibility in pricing as well. Now I am working on standardizing my pricing, and so to some degree that's going away, I suppose. But even so, I get to still be the one to choose overall what that pricing is, where it's at, and how it stacks up compared to the marketplace and so forth. So anyway, I think even though I have traditionally said that I'm not good at sales, um, that's probably not so true anymore. I'm probably fairly good at sales now, and when it comes to selling what I sell now, and I I love the fact that I have the opportunity to talk about how I can help somebody, right? And so in that regard, I would say that sales is actually a lot of fun now. I have a fairly stable base of clients, and so I don't have to keep selling constantly in order to survive. And so that kind of pressure is not on me. And and also because what I do is more of a long-term relationship typically with my clients, then I'm pretty concerned about fit too, right? Like I don't want to oversell it in such a way that you have wrong expectations and then you're going to be mad at me in 4 months. I don't want to underprice it because then I'm not going to have fun. It's going to be unfun serving you if I'm not getting paid enough. Um, I don't want clients that are too high maintenance or too obnoxious, right? And so anyway, so it's a little bit more. Even though obviously my default is yes, I want new clients. Um, it's a little bit more of a selection process for me as well. And so anyway, the dynamics I think are just a lot more fun, a lot more healthy than some of the other sales experiences that I've had in the past.